hell no. If someone tells you to use a cover, I mean, this has never happened to me, but if it did, I would literally, if you've got the blanket, throw it over their head. And if you don't have a blanket, throw your coffee in their face, because this is probably the worst thing you could say to a breastfeeding mother. I mean, they already feel self-conscious about getting their boob out in public, and I mean, you've just been given this tiny little fragile newborn, and it's hard. Breastfeeding is hard work, so trying to get that baby onto your nipple and hold it in the correct position where its head is tilted back further enough, and trying to get that whole mouth over your nipple, there's loads of different things going on. Your mind is on that. Imagine then trying to keep a blanket over your shoulder and trying to see your baby's face or over your whole head. It's just, you don't eat with a blanket over your head, so why should a child? And they need air, they need ventilation. I'm not going to put a blanket over my kid while it eats. When I see a mother sitting down by herself and trying to breastfeed her tiny little newborn with a silly cover or something, I sit down next to her and I breastfeed my kid. I want to lift her up, I want to empower her, and that's what all breastfeeding mothers should do. If you see someone uncomfortably trying to breastfeed or fumbling around with a cover, sit down next to them, get your boob out and breastfeed your baby. That's the nicest thing you can do. You don't have to start a conversation or talk with them or anything like that. Just show them that this is what's normal. You don't need to cover up for society. Oh, I just feel sorry for your kid. I seriously do. You obviously couldn't breastfeed, and now you're teaching your kid that it's weird and that it's something that should be shameful, so they're most likely not going to breastfeed their beautiful baby. I mean, it's just kind of like a nasty cycle. Don't cover your kid's eyes. It's the most natural thing you can see. It's a mother nourishing its baby. That's as natural as it gets. Whether it's a cow feeding its baby or it's a monkey feeding its baby, a human mother breastfeeding its baby is no different, and it's a beautiful thing. I think it's amazing. When I see women out in public breastfeeding their babies, I'm like, praise the heavens, because that is so beautiful. It's so amazing that her body provides that for her baby.
Hi, baby. You know, I'm all for breastfeeding, but it's a little gross after they're a year old.
Well, good for you. You don't need to tell me that. I don't care that you think it's gross. I think it's gross that you feed your kid another species milk, cow's milk. That's disgusting. That's meant for that baby cow. Breastfeeding a child is the most natural thing you can do. You're not shoving some piece of plastic in its little gob. The world average for breastfeeding a child is 4 years. So that includes all the tribes in Africa, Papua New Guinea, all those places. The world average is 4. It's not gross to us. It's the most beautiful thing that we can do. And yes, it's a toddler and it can ask for it, but it's always asked for it in the form of crying.
Don't you know breast milk loses all its nutritional value after 12 months? Because I'm an expert.
So I've heard a lot of people say this, and I've even heard some doctors say this to mothers, that breastfeeding, there's no nutritional benefit to it after 12 months. That is so ridiculous. Like, when you eat an apple or an orange, or when you eat something, it never loses its nutritional value. Like, I just can't believe when people say that. It's still got all those vitamins and enzymes and antibodies and, oh my god, just to say that it gets to 12 months and then just stops. It just becomes water pretty much. Like, how can you say that? It's just ridiculous. I don't know of any food that just loses its nutritional value after a certain year you turn in your life. So that's just ridiculous.
Aren't you worried about it ruining your boobs?
Seriously, did you just say that to me? This comes from a person who has never had children and isn't particularly interested in children. it's like, it's ouch. It's painful when someone says that to you. You're just like, excuse me? Like, you obviously have no idea the bond between a mother and a baby when she's breastfeeding and the way a new mother feels. We are so self-conscious at the beginning because we've got this flabby belly where a baby used to be and it's saggy and gross, and we've got stretch marks on our thighs and our belly, and it's hard being out in public because we're stressing that baby's just going to start screaming or just shit everywhere, and we'll have no nappies, or it'll get all over us. Trust me, all these things have happened to me before. So it's nerve-wracking being a new mum, and saying, like, pointing out their body is the worst thing you can do. Like, just don't go. It's like, yeah, say you look amazing, you look awesome, blah blah blah, and really mean it. Don't just say it. But yes, we know, we are completely aware that our boobs are never going to be the same as what they were before we had a baby or before we breastfed. But there's something that happens when you become a mother. You don't care. Like, the baby comes first. You put aside all, it pretty much starts from when you're pregnant. You know you're going to lose your belly and your thighs and everything. Yeah, it's just really not a nice thing. You already feel self-conscious. Just don't say it to people. It's nasty.
When is he going to eat real food?
This really is none of your business. If it's a tiny baby, say anywhere between 0 to 6 months, it's most likely only going to have breast milk. Maybe you should study that a bit before. Maybe you should remember that. Write that down, actually. They don't need anything else other than breast milk from 0 to 6 months. Okay, solved. Problem solved. If it's after that, he probably eats food as well. He has boobs and food. That's like the most perfect drink you can give them. Other than, like, yeah, that's the most perfect drink you can give them. It's better than water. So he probably has a mixture of both, and that's freaking awesome. Like, go mum. And real food, seriously, that makes us feel like crap. Like, our bodies aren't good enough to provide all the nutrients for our baby.
Bottles are so much easier.
Holy moly, have I heard this one before. Bottles are so much easier. Really? Because all I have to do is pull my top down. You have to get out of bed in the middle of the night, find a sterilized bottle. If it's not sterilized, you probably have to sterilize it so it's got no yuckies in it. And then you have to measure out, well, first you gotta turn the light on, then you gotta measure out your formula, boil the kettle, put a bit of warm water in it, level it out with cold water, make sure, test it on your arm, and then go find your screaming baby who's by now probably lost the plot and shove it in its mouth. All I have to do is put my top down. And also, if you do think, like, if you listen to that and still said, no, I still think that bottles are easier than breastfeeding. Yeah, okay, some things are a lot easier in life. Getting the lift is easier than the stairs. Breastfeeding can be hard for some, but there's an amazing benefit to breastfeeding, and that's why so many mums choose to do it. So don't make them feel shitty. I'm really struggling with this latch.
Just give him a bottle, it won't hurt him.
I know you probably mean well if you say just give him a bottle, it won't hurt, but really this is the worst thing you can say to a breastfeeding mother. They are usually quite determined to breastfeed. They want to breastfeed from the start. That's why they're doing it. It takes a lot of determination to do it, and sometimes it's freaking painful. So by saying just give him a bottle, it won't hurt, it's like, I don't know how to get this out, but it's just not a nice thing to say to someone. Also, if they do listen to your advice and they do try to give them a bottle, it creates a lot of confusion for the baby, because it's going from the most natural thing. It's very easy to suck from a nipple for a newborn, and then going to this hard plastic nipple. It's a lot of confusion. It's a lot and they won't get as much through when they're starting. It's just, yeah, it's just a bad idea. Don't say that. Instead, say something like, is there any breastfeeding support groups in your area you could go to? Or I can go with you to a lactation consultant if you want. Stuff like that. Or maybe find some articles for them and send them through But yeah, that's my advice. Even if you do mean well, don't say give him a bottle, it won't hurt him, because it kind of might.
Formula helps him sleep through the night.
This one is just stupid. I know breastfed and formula fed babies that do not sleep through the night. And I know breastfed and bottle feed that do sleep through the night. My daughter slept through the night from 4 months. She was breastfed, and my son still doesn't sleep through the night. It doesn't matter. Who cares? There's not one that is going to make them sleep through the night. And if you're putting, like, I've heard some people say that they give them extra formula at night, like increase the dosage. That is so dangerous. Like, you can do serious damage to your baby by that. And putting rice, is it rice flour or rice cereal or something in their bottles to make them feel fuller, that is dangerous. Just be happy. Don't stress too much. Like, yeah, you might not get a full night's sleep, but try and have naps during the day. There's not one surefire thing that is going to make your child sleep through the night.
How do you know if he's getting enough?
I know he's getting enough the same way I trusted my body to grow him in the beginning. Our bodies are so super amazing, and I don't think we trust them enough. There's always that doubt in our mind that our bodies aren't doing the right thing, or that your baby isn't getting enough milk because you can't see it. And even if you hand express out the amount for the time that your baby breastfeeds, expressing is nowhere near as effective as what your newborn is. So no, we don't know how much they're getting, but I can say from experience, I trust that my body is doing the right thing. If I'm having loads of water during the day, a good, awesome diet, then the rest is just easy. I mean, they feed however long they want to feed. There's no set time. Some babies feed for 5 minutes, some babies feed for half an hour. Some babies feed every hour, some feed every 3 hours. Just let it go. It's seriously not a big deal. Just let it go.
Is it still filming?
No, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is? Oh, okay.
So that was my first rant movie, I guess. I got pretty angry in that movie. At one point I think I was like swearing and stuff. I had to edit all that out. I was like, dude, I'm getting way too invested in this movie. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you do, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. It doesn't really matter. And don't forget to subscribe. So thanks, guys. I'll see you for the next one. Bye.